I never really thought that I would get breast cancer. That's what I'm dealing with now, breast cancer. Over the last 3 years, that's been kind of my story. And it started in December of 2012. I was diagnosed with a very mild case of breast cancer. I went for the surgery and the chemotherapy and the radiation at that point. So, you know, that first time around was okay emotionally. You know, I didn't really fall apart. But when I discovered the second lump, that felt like an insult. You know, that scared me. And actually, Visa and my husband and I cried for about the first 3 days and held each other a lot. And yeah, that was harder to take. So at this point, you know, I made the choice to look into alternative methods for treatment. And I've been seeing practitioners who have been counseling me on nutrition, and seeing a naturopathic doctor who gives me intravenous high-dose vitamin C treatments, and I feel great. So pretty much asymptomatic at this point. I have a lump in my breast. I also have one in my axillary, which is the armpit. And I've decided after about 8 months of treatment that I want to go down to UCSF and consult with an oncologist there and get some tests run and find out what is new and up and coming, cutting edge type treatment that might be appropriate for me.
Western medicine are great at crisis care, I would say, without a doubt. You know.
Yes, acute care, crisis care, immediate intervention.
Yeah.
Western medicine is there. Prevention, a little different.
It's not the doctor's fault either. It's medical doctors are not educated on that. You know, they get through college, they're into med school, they're into doing the rounds and whatnot. They don't get that education. So often when it comes up and you're asking them about it, they really don't know. So you need to go ahead and get on your information horse and find out exactly what, you know, other alternatives might be. That might be what is right for you. And I think it's essential for people to realize, hey, you know what? It's okay to get a couple different opinions, a couple different doctors, whatever healthcare practitioner you decide you want to choose.
In my counseling with my naturopathic doctor, she recommended a test. It's called the RGCC test. It's a test where you have the option of testing your cancer cells against chemo drugs and or natural substances that have been known to be effective.
They test the blood against the chemotherapeutic agents as well as the nutrient agents. So we can look at those too and see, you know, even with the nutrients, what are going to be the best ones for you, as well as the chemotherapeutic agents, you know, to be your greatest benefit. And so in your case, we saw great results coming in from your first test, and 3 months later to the second test when it dropped 50% through, you know, the use of the nutrients that we were doing, and your support, you know, your dietary choices, your home support, your you know, supplements that you've been taking. All of those things were given to you according to, you know, what was going to be benefit for, you know, bringing these cells back into the normal functioning process. And what I think is really great is that we are continuing to move forward, continuing to have individuals looking at this and saying, okay, we have that. How can we improve on that type of testing? What's available? I mean, even in the 20 years I've been in this medicine, I have seen a lot of changes. I see a lot of changes just in the foods available, you know, and our choices. And yes, you know, so then we have to look at, well, is this really expensive? Well, you have to look at the cost of ill health is quite expensive.
It became apparent to me that it was going to cost money, and a lot of money. This is not the cheap way to go. So, you know, initially I solicited my community through GoFundMe for funding. The things I chose to do, you know, we needed to get equipment, like a really good juicer. We needed to have a Vitamix for the drinks that I take every morning, all the supplements that I get on a regular basis, all that stuff starts adding up.
I was seeing doctors, I had an oncologist. In fact, I had a whole team, I called them my team, of people who were lined up to help me, from acupuncturists to naturopathic doctors to my oncologist to my colon hydrotherapist. I was taking about 30 supplements a day, anything and everything. And I ended up paying for all of my allopathic, or my alternative treatments, I should say, through just credit cards. And the reason I bring it up is because I'm $40,000 in debt right now. So here I am, 5, 6, 7 years later, and I'm still paying massive. I'm literally paying more a month than I am on my mortgage, because these things are not covered.
I needed to get, I got a rebounder, what's called a rebounder. It's basically a mini trampoline for, when you jump on that, it makes your lymph system move. I needed to keep my lymph system healthy. All of these things add up. When I started seeing my naturopathic doctor, she requested blood panels. Also, my primary care physician, same thing. They wanted blood panels done. All of these things are out of pocket. Insurance won't cover any of this stuff.
In the United States, the insurance companies really run the healthcare system. Very few people, I think, would argue that if they're informed. Insurance companies typically want to pay for crisis care because they can budget for it. But any type of preventive care, they're just not prepared, and they don't engulf it like the other nations in Europe do. They really struggle, it seems, to want to go ahead and treat the whole person, both mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. It's really difficult for people when they go ahead and look at this menu of what is offered. A lot of it, they're kind of chained because of the financial barriers of the insurance companies.
The naturopathic side of it is legitimate. The nutrition part of it is absolutely legitimate. And you need counseling, that costs money. You need support, that costs money. There are things that actually are viable and really do work. They cost money. I have no idea how this would feel doing it alone. I know there are people who go through something like this alone. I can't imagine. Visa, he's my rock. And a cancer diagnosis on a family member is hard on everybody. And everyone has different ways of responding, reacting to the thought that they could lose somebody in their life. We've had moments of, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna kick it, it's gonna be great. And we've had moments of experiencing bodily the thought of losing each other, losing me at this moment.
It ain't over.
It ain't over.
It ain't over. Yeah, there's more to do, and I don't think we'll be defined by this.
What I'd really like to see happen is a community shift of consciousness around illness in general, not just cancer necessarily, but just around illness and the way we are with people who are suffering. This might be the new modality for it, is fundraising, creating events to say, hey, I'm over here and I need you. I need you for emotional support, I need you for financial support, I need need your prayers. You don't necessarily have to come over. You don't have to call me. Just think about me. Think about me being well. You know? Think about each other being well. Hold each other in that place. I don't want to be boxed into the woman who has cancer. You know, I want to be thought of as the woman who's living fully. I want to be the woman who's kicking it, and I need you to help me do that. I can't do it by myself. Nobody can.